and we need you to start swinging, folks. The New World Order's coming down on us. And what's frustrating is we're drawing blood on the enemy. We're getting hits in. We're in the fight. And it's a fight of our lives, folks. I mean, I really mean it when I get on air and I say if they win, they're setting up death camps. They're going to have purges and kill most of us. And that means you out there that are especially middle-class people, even if you've served them. These are thieves. They're coming after you. They're coming after everybody. We got to stand up against these people. And, you know, this is real, ladies and gentlemen. This is real. This is life and death. This isn't a game, Paul Watson.
Right, and even though we're having such a massive impact, you know, compared to the size of our operation, that's also a danger in that we're still comparatively a very small operation, and there are other people that do similar work that, you know, don't work directly with us, but in comparison, there are still very few of us, even though we have a lot of people out there who follow our work and, you know, keep themselves informed. But if just, you know, 20% or even 10% of them were to take direct action in the form of the things that people like Mark Dice do, then the influence that we have will only be greater.
And I've seen this happen to about 90% of people that really become vocal. They immediately do good work, write good articles, do a good radio show, and somebody baits them. Somebody challenges them. Somebody says you're an agent or you're this or that. And then they spend all their time ninnying and infighting with those people, and that's how COINTELPRO works. Folks, if you know you're good in your heart, you know you're good, you know you're fighting the New World Order, ignore the operatives. They're attacking you because you're having a victory. And I only talk about it because we're command base alpha, and, you know, literally in this. So I'm telling folks, move forward against the enemy. Don't listen to enemy transmissions of Tokyo Rose telling us to lay down or that we don't have power. We do have power. The power that God breathed into us, you know, the moment we were conceived in our mother's wombs. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this is history. This is your chance to be on the side of good. You know, the dark side is quicker, easier, more seductive. Don't join it. I'm telling you, commit, get through your fear, and great strength will come to you. Now, going back to you, Paul Watson, and these issues, other comments on Bilderberg, and I want to get your take on just the amazing Philadelphia Daily News 7 years ago, where it said they're training youth corps with submachine guns on how to do gun confiscation, door-to-door fugitive apprehension. I kept reading that article on air, and then I looked into Secure Corps and found out about the law enforcement training with BATF grants in every major school district and Marine Corps grants, and all of it's the same. Get the gun owners, kill them. Get the homeschoolers, kill them. These drills are 5 or 6 different things. Homeschoolers that are trying to kill people, they got to be killed. Veterans that are trying to not turn their guns in, they got to be killed. Right-wingers got to be killed. Our environmentalists got to be killed. They usually throw one left wing in for every 3 or 4 right-wing drills, you know, so they can say it's balanced. But the point is it's for everybody. And, you know, this is what they do. And now they're training the Boy Scouts, which are only 2 or 3 years away from combat age. These are ages 14 to 17. So I guess they're one year from it in some cases, to kill veterans, to do seek and destroy. So let's get back into Bilderberg. Anything else on that, Paul?
Yeah, just to finish up, it was Dutch Member of Parliament Henry van Bommel who wrote in a weblog 2 days ago about Bilderberg and specifically about Estulin's information that they plan to demonize anti-EU activists in the media with the upcoming second referendum in Ireland on the Lisbon Treaty. He mentioned that, and he also mentioned a plan to sink the economy again. And he referenced our article from May 6th, and now as a result of that, he's asking questions of the Dutch Prime Minister in the Dutch Parliament about if they attend Bilderberg, are they aware of it, if the Lisbon Treaty is going to be discussed at Bilderberg, and if they do plan on trying to demonize anti-EU activists in the media. So it's just another example about how much influence we're actually having, where we can get MPs to ask questions in major European parliaments about this by just putting out an article. And it's happened in the past. I mean, on at least, from what I've counted, a dozen or more occasions, questions have been asked in the House of Commons in the UK about Bilderberg, some directly to former Prime Minister Tony Blair himself, who had to lie brazenly in front of Parliament in October 2006 when he was asked by MP Norman Baker, who also came out in support of a new investigation into the death of Dr. David Kelly. Baker asked him if he'd attended Bilderberg, and Blair said, quote, "I have not attended any such meetings," despite it being renownedly recognised that he attended the 1993 meeting in Greece. So Blair just lied in front of Parliament, which is illegal, obviously, in denying that he ever attended Bilderberg. But as I said, and I've provided a link to it in the article.
But when you break the law for Spectre, which is the Bilderberg group, they throw it in your face with, Ian Fleming, the OSS guy, writing those novels that were made into movies. When you break the law for Spectre, that's okay. You get promoted.
Right. But now, a lot of attention. I mean, we've got a lot of fans in the Netherlands. They're leaving comments on the articles, and I get emails from them occasionally. And there's a lot of attention on Bilderberg at the moment in the Netherlands, which is why I found it bizarre that we had that incident a few weeks ago where this nutcase who's supposedly targeting the royal family drives a car, plows through a group of people on the street with the royal cavalcade and the coaches up on his right. He suddenly turns left and plows into a pillar, and then he dies, and that's the end of it, and it elicits all this sympathy.
Yeah, sounds like remote control cars, and we know they've got units going back 30 years. Well, they had them in World War II for aircraft, but 30 years in cars where they just remote control it into whatever they want. There's been a bunch of CEOs involved in scams here in Texas. One of them that did a bunch of scams with a big apartment complex company, and then he was out in the panhandle of Texas where there was only a concrete pylon every few miles. He magically ran into that one pylon and burned up, if you believe that.
Yeah. Well, if you watch the video, it's just bizarre because it's a clear road. On the right of him ahead is the royal coaches, and then on the left is a pillar with a statue. And he just drives straight into the pillar. It's bizarre. Anyway, there's a lot of attention on it in Holland at the moment, and now, as a result of that article, questions are being asked. And from what I understand, you can probably guess the newspaper, but there's going to be a major article in a British newspaper on Monday, a serious article about Bilderberg. Now, the Times reported on it a few days ago, which was then picked up by Haaretz. And apart from that, there's been a mention in a Portuguese newspaper. But apart from that, basically nothing, and nothing out of the U.S. corporate media.
Yeah, you would think that Geithner and a bunch of White House officials breaking federal law, the Logan Act, with a bunch of other world leaders who brag in their minutes that they've released over the time, that they set up the EU covertly, that the Nazis had a plan when they were losing in the 1944, 43, to put their money into Bilderberg. We know large portions of that were Nazi funded and then mixed with British and New York money, that it actually funded the Nazis. And you see, when you watch, I actually went out to Best Buy and bought the first few James Bond movies because I knew Ian Fleming, and people know where I'm going with this in a minute. Ian Fleming was OSS, and so that's British intelligence / CIA propaganda. But in these films, you see it's Spectre. And they tell you that Spectre uses former KGB, former MI6, former CIA people, quote, and it's these international bankers, and they're staging terror attacks. But really, that's what the Bilderberg Group is. They are Spectre, but Spectre sits above our governments, and Spectre actually runs things. So Spectre stages terror attacks to then blame it on their political enemies so they can sick the supposed good guys, the British and the U.S., on them. And so now I'm, watching the James Bond movies again on the treadmill in the morning, just to, and now, just seeing it, it's total, complete propaganda. And you watch the modern James Bond movies, it's even more, where James Bond is fighting the secret societies, the Illuminati in the last one. No, they are the Illuminati. Paul, you want to explain that to folks?
Well, they often, it's called revelation of the method, isn't it? It's some kind of code of ethics that they have whereby they have, if they do